What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Always Compete Seahawks podcast. I am Sam. Mike is not here, but as training camp approaches, I'm recording this 2 days from the start of training camp. The Seahawks are in a transition period, and because of this, we thought it might be nice to give you a position breakdown. We're going to be doing 2 positions per episode. First episode will be, as you saw by the title, quarterbacks and running backs. So you came for the spiciest one first. That's what we're giving you. This will really not include special teams like punter and kicker and long snapper or anything like that. It's really just going to be offense, defense. And yeah, I'm going to be breaking down the positions, breaking down the players, what they have to offer, what they did last year, what they could do this year. And I'm going to give a grade on the positions. I'm going to be saying, I think this position group is a B+. So I think this is a D-. It's, wide scale. I'm also going to be breaking down available free agents that could be of interest to the team at that specific position. We're going to be diving straight in. We're going for the hottest position first. We're going for quarterback. And this is going to be an important position for the Seahawks this year. Russell Wilson got traded. He is no longer the team starting quarterback. The Seahawks have 3 quarterbacks currently on the roster. This is Jacob Eason, Drew Lock, and Geno Smith. Now, really the 2 latter options are really the only options seen that are logical for the job. But I think it's fair to say that, with Pete Carroll being it's always compete when our podcast is named after it, it's probably smart to, include Jacob Eason in on that list and, just say that he's there. So let's start with Jacob Eason. Picked up off waivers last year off the Indianapolis Colts, did not play a game. In 2021, played 1 game, 2 for 5, 40% completion percentage, 25 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. 2 first downs, longest was 10 passes. Quarterback rating of 16.7. It's not good. Eason has really never played, but he is from Lake Stevens, Washington, high school. Born in Georgia, Washington. Obviously committed to Georgia. Played at Georgia. And then went to Washington, which is kind of funny. But Eason was picked by the Colts a couple years back. And I thought he was a pretty solid developmental quarterback. I thought he had the talents to really prove that he would have been a good player. But it really never worked out in Indy. They got Carson Wentz, and they got Sam Ehlinger, and everything just kind of fell apart for him. This is a new opportunity. He could be a starting quarterback. I don't think it's going to happen. So I'm really not even going to talk about Eason much. I'm going to spend most of the time talking about quarterbacks on Geno Smith and Drew Lock. Let's start with Geno Smith, as he's a little bit more familiar. He's been on the team for 2 seasons. This will be his 3rd year. Last 2 years, he was just the backup quarterback. In 2020, he played 1 game, which was a blowout versus the Jets. 4 for 5, 80% completion percentage, 33 yards, 3 first downs. Nothing to rave about. But last year, he got to show himself in 4 games when Russell Wilson was hurt last year. Going 1-2 with a 68.4% completion percentage, 702 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 31 first downs, quarterback rating of 103. That is frankly fine quarterback play. I think that's what a lot of people are forgetting here. That is decent quarterback play, and it's really game manager, but you really might just what the Seahawks are looking for this year. Smith knows his offense a bit better. He's been in it for a year. He knows the coaches a bit better, so he's going to have that leg up. Pete Carroll's already said that he has the leg up through camp. Not necessarily based off play, he said, just kind of based off knowledge and where he sits with the team. He's already led the team in 4 games, and I think that he's fine. I think Geno Smith would be a totally mid starting quarterback in the NFL at this rate in his career, like he was last year. Frankly, I think that he's my prediction to start week 1, but then there's the kind of wild card, and that's gonna be Drew Lock. 60% completion percentage last year, 784 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 7.1 yards per attempt. It's not great. He went 0-3 when in games that he started. He played in 6 games, 80.4 quarterback, 23.4 quarterback rating. Or total quarterback rating of 23.4, quarterback rating of 80.4. So, it's not great. Luck, the thing about Luck is he has all the potential in the world to really break out and be a really good starting quarterback. He has the arm talent, and you see points where he has pinpoint accuracy. He has mobility. He has the frame. There's really nothing that's holding him back except mechanics and decision-making. Those are the 2 things that are really holding him back. Those are things that can be fixed. He can be taught to be a better decision maker, although most of that is instincts, which kind of worries me. I don't know if that's going to be so easy to fix. However, when you're talking about mechanics, that can easily be fixed. His footwork is very, very bad. It's very bad. He fades away on a lot of throws. You'll see him and he goes, you don't want to be doing that. It loses so much steam on the football. That's why he had a lot of lofty passes last year. If he can just step into those throws, be more comfortable in the pocket, then I think that he could easily hit his targets. But I think that at the end of the day, Geno Smith is a guy who probably won't end up hurting your football team as a starter. He won't improve it, but he won't hurt it. I feel like Drew Lock has that potential to hurt your football team in the long run. And that's a big concern, considering that Pete Carroll still wants to win games for this team. And quite frankly, this roster isn't half bad. So do you want the guy who could win games for you, but could also lose games for you? Or you just want a guy who's going to be totally average and manage the game and get you to the fourth quarter in some games and kind of keep you in a lot of those and give you a chance to win? I don't know. It's kind of a tough thing for me. Do you want a guy who could win you games with just overall talent, or do you want a guy who will be a game manager? I'm not sure, and obviously the big rumor around this Seahawks team right now, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to be a Seahawk? I did a video on that. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he's going to be a Seahawk. I don't think he's going to get traded here. And I don't know if he's going to come here when he gets cut either. So it's at least worth looking into available free agent QBs in the NFL right now. Now, a lot of these aren't great. So, some guys that pop out. Cam Newton is available. After that, I don't see anything that's appealing really on the free agent market. It's all pretty unappealing. If you want to go for like a Mike Glennon, but he was like terrible, and then there was a Garrett Gilbert, but Garrett Gilbert's not good, and AJ McCarron. All these guys are pretty bad. I don't really see anybody else that makes a lot of sense to go out and sign as a quarterback. I think you're perfectly fine rolling with the room that you have now. And quite frankly, if I had to give a grade to the room you have now, yeah, it's an F. It's the worst starting quarterback room in the NFL. It is. I think I'd rather have the Falcons starting quarterback room because at least you have Desmond Ridder and you have Marcus Mariota, who I trust probably a little bit more than Geno Smith and Drew Lock. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's not good. Quite frankly, I'm not very optimistic about this quarterback room, but I'm cautiously optimistic that it might not be terrible, but it's just not going to be good. So I'm pretty concerned. I think if anything will hold this team back from losing, it's going to be the quarterback room, and that's pretty and that kind of goes without saying. It's not a hot take to say this quarterback room is going to hold the Seahawks back. It's not good, and quite frankly, I don't think that it's going to win the team any games. So, yeah, that's not good. It's not a good start, but we're going to kind of get a little bit more optimistic as we look onto the running backs. And this is a room that is much more optimistic for the Seahawks coming in this season than the quarterbacks. Beginning, we have friend of the show, Josh Johnson, who, frankly, showed a lot. He showed a lot. He only played in 3 games, and he didn't get a carry. He was mostly a special teams player, but Preseason was very optimistic looking. I'm confident that Josh Johnson could have stuff to add to the Seahawks team this season, considering that he's looking for a chance to really show up and ball out. So I'm looking at him, and I know he's hungry. He's a workhorse, and I'm confident that he'll be able to show up and do what he does. Next up, we got Travis Homer. You guys know him, kind of like a special teams ace kind of guy. In his last season, 21 rushing attempts for 177 yards, 1 touchdown, 8.4 yards per attempt receiving, and 16 receptions for 161 yards, 0 touchdowns. In 10.1 yards per reception. So Travis Homer, really, he's probably going to make the team mostly for his special teams ability. He's pretty good as a gunner and as an overall guy at coverage on special teams, and he can return some kicks too. Pretty confident that he'll make the team as a special teams guy and really nothing else. DJ Dallas, kind of the same thing. He played a little bit of a role last year. 33 rushing attempts, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.2 yards per attempt, 21 receptions for 133 yards, no receiving touchdowns. DJ Dallas, another guy who plays a pretty good role in that special teams half there. He had a big hit last year on special teams. DJ Dallas is another fine player to have returning the ball. He's another fine player to have in your backfield as depth, and he plays well on special teams. So he's probably going to make the team as well. Now we're getting to the 3 guys who are really going to be your workhorse. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped the name. Darwin Thompson. How about this? Darwin Thompson signed this offseason on a futures deal, I believe. He's a former running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. I know you guys probably want to know a little bit about him. I'll give you a little bit of a tour. Born February 12th, 1997 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He's 25 years old. Went to Utah State for football. Played for the Chiefs for the first 2 years of his career. 2019 was his best career season, going 37 rushing attempts for 128 yards, 1 touchdown, 3.5 yards per attempt, 9 receptions, 43 yards. So he has a little bit of a mighty might. He's 5'8", 200 pounds. He's going to be fighting for a job on the roster. Guess coolest thing about him is he has a Super Bowl ring, but he's going to be fighting for a job as kind of a veteran, and he has to prove himself. So, yeah. So now we're going to get to the 3 guys that are really the big pieces of this running back room, starting with Rashad Penny, a guy who came out of nowhere last year, out of nowhere. And especially in those last couple games, really balled out. Last year was his best career season. 119 rushing attempts, 749 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6.3 yards per attempt, which I believe led all running backs, like 100 plus attempts rushing. If I'm not mixing that up, 74.9 yards per game, 6 receptions, 48 yards, no touchdowns, 8 yards per reception. Rashad Penny came out of nowhere and had a absolutely unreal final 5 games. Well, the main one that really sticks out in my mind is the Detroit games, the Houston game, the Cardinals game where he had that long rushing touchdown, where he started to kind of show off his cocky side. He was like, "Quit talking about me, quit playing me easy." Finally, we saw what the Seahawks thought they drafted that year. And, after 2020, where he barely played, after the start of 2021, it kind of was like, oh, Rashad Penny's career is over with. He's not going to play any more games with the Seahawks. Comes out of nowhere, balls out. He's probably the number 1 running back. Signed a little bit of a contract with the Seahawks offseason. I think it was like 1 year, 6.5. I'm pretty happy with what Rashad Penny could bring to this team, especially if he's healthy. The issue is, will he be healthy? I quite frankly don't think so, but let's hope for the best. And then you talk about Chris Carson. This is a little bit of a wild card. At the start of his career, talking really, really good stuff. 2018, 247 rushing attempts for 1,151 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4.7 yards per attempt. 2019, a career year, 15 games played, 278 rushing attempts for 1,230 yards, 7 touchdowns. The guy balled out. 2020 dealt with a little bit of injuries. His his yards per game was down. He had less rushes than normal. He was a little bit banged up. And then in 2021, that's where it all hit the fan. You know what I'm talking about? 4 games played, 54 rushing attempts, 232 yards, 3 touchdowns. When he was active, he looked really good. Frankly, he was kind of on those breakaway runs where he was getting into the open field and he was making plays. But he had a neck injury. And if you know what football is, you know that neck injuries are not a joke. He really got hurt and he had surgery. And quite frankly, we don't know if he's going to play this year. If he does play, you could probably bank on him being a really, really solid power running back that runs with a lot of force. He might not play. He might have played his last snap last year, and that's what concerns me, which is why it made more sense than it seemed like at the time when in the second round with the 40th pick, the Seahawks selected Kenneth Walker, running back out of Michigan State. And Kenneth Walker was the Doak Walker Award winner. 2021, if you guys watch the Michigan State game, you know what's up. Last year, 12 games, 263 attempts, 1,636 yards, 18 touchdowns, 6.2 yards per attempt. Guy, I think, can also return kicks. He's a dog. He's a workhorse. He's 5'10", 210. He's an ideal running back build. And this guy runs hard, but he's also really fast. I think this is a guy you draft to give 20 carries, 30 carries a game to. This is the kind of guy that was relied on a lot at Michigan State and kind of carried their entire offense. He was 6th in Heisman voting. Like I said, Doak Walker Award winner. For those who don't watch college football, that's the nation's best running back in college football. So Kenneth Walker really has the potential to be a workhorse guy. Just carry. You know, a guy who can really, you can build an offense around. I don't think he'll be that this year, but next year, when we don't know if Chris Carson's playing or Rashad Penny's contract is up, that's the kind of guy this can turn into. Kenneth Walker is a dog, and he'll come in right away and he'll be ready to play. Frankly, if I had to grade this room, I'm giving it an A-. You have, if Chris Carson is healthy, you have a really, really, really good trio of Chris Carson, Kenneth Walker, Rashad Penny. Those 3 guys all can get you 1,000 yards if they all are healthy. I'm confident that this running back room will be the main part of this offense. It's really all dependent on if they're healthy. If they're healthy, I think this could be the best running back room in the NFL. But if they're not, I'm not sure. If you really want the running back to be DJ Dallas and Travis Homer, I'm not sure. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up. This is going to be a long season, and it's going to be a long series of videos breaking down these guys. And, you know, give your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the Seahawks quarterback room? Do you think I was being too harsh giving them an F? And what do you think about the Seahawks running back room? Are you guys confident? Do you think it'll be the heart of the offense? As always, subscribe, leave a like, ring that bell, and listen to this wherever you get your podcasts. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.